In 1991, I was a student at Unity School for Religious Studies. I was in ministerial training. I was there from 91 to 93. And as I've done over the years, I was practicing repeating a sacred word in my mind, what some might call a mantra. Or you could call it an affirmation. I was repeating it over and over and over. And I was in, any of you ever done that before? Just repeat a sacred word over and over and over. I see some of you have. And so I was in class. It was a Life of Prayer class. And I was repeating this word over and over and over. And I felt a pressure right at the point between my eyebrows. And I wonder, wow, why is that? How come when I'm repeating God's name over and over, I'm feeling pressure right there? Well, years later, I started to study the teachings of the great yogi sage Paramahansa Yogananda. And I started to learn about the chakras, the energy centers. And I began to practice a meditation technique he brought. Well, he brought 3, actually. And I started to awaken these chakras. I started to become aware of them and began to practice energizing the chakras every day for the last about 30 years, I'd say. So they really do exist, energy centers that are there. And I know it's interesting that we as human beings have this potential inside of us that we have yet to discover, isn't it? Isn't it fascinating that there's more inside of us that we haven't yet discovered? I first came aware of that kind of idea back when I was a golfer as a teenager. I picked up the book at the age of 12 called The Inner Game of Golf. And I started to apply some of these ideas and I started to play better. It's like, wow, there's more inside of us that we even know. And so today I want to talk to you about generally, your inner doors to freedom. These inner energy centers, these inner chakras that exist. And next week, we're going to start and go in depth in each of the chakras. Each week, we'll take one chakra, we'll go in depth. I'll show you how to quicken the energy in the chakra and the qualities that how it affects your life. We're going to go over that generally this morning. Chakra is a Sanskrit word that means wheel or circle. Chakra is a circle of energy. And on a deeper level, it's called a vortice. It's a energy that swirls in the center of your being. And you have 7 of them. We all know we have a physical spine. Well, deeper than the spine running down the center of your being are these energy centers or chakras, whirls of energy. And what happens, as I've taught before, that from the time you're a kid and you grow up, you're repressing, we're trying to push away unpleasant feelings. Anybody ever do that? We go through a hard experience, we're like, I don't like that. And it's like, as Singer says, we have hands inside of ourselves. I don't want to feel that experience. So we try to push the emotion away to separate ourselves. Does that do it? No, it doesn't. It buries it. It buries the energy. It buries whatever you resist. Persists. Right, persists. Right? Whatever you resist persists. And it's still there and it still affects you. Sometimes people are like, oh, but I don't want the negative feelings because I'll attract into my life. Well, not wanting it doesn't change the fact that it's still there. Repressing it doesn't get rid of it. See, when you feel it, when it's there, you got to feel it and release it. So the point is, all those negative emotions that we've suppressed, depending on the quality of those emotions, they go into a chakra, a whirlpool of energy. and it's sucked there. And it goes around, because energy has to go somewhere. It goes around in a circle. Energy center. And so we've got these blockages in these 7 centers, and the goal is to free up that energy so that it flows freely through us. Jesus said, the great yogi that he was, he said, "Blessed are the pure at heart, for they shall see God." Does that mean that when you're good and you go to church and you read your Bible and you can quote scripture and you do good things and all that, that when you die you're going to go see God up there? No. No. The scripture also says no man has ever seen God. Because God is spirit, everywhere present. No, he was talking about free up this energy. Free up your energy. Blessed are the pure in heart. Where this energy is flowing freely, the more of that, the more of joy, the more of love, the more of peace, the more energy, the more life we have. How many of you want more life, more joy, more energy, more peace, greater love? How many of you all want that? How many of you would love ecstasy? Not the drug ecstasy. The inner high. That's what we're talking about. Yes, the only high that goes with you. No negative side effects. Except that you become so joyful, some of your friends can't stand you anymore. Right? You know that, right? I don't know what happened to you. You're so happy all the time now. Can't complain and whine and be miserable with you. You're off the list. So you got to free up that energy that's blocked. See, whatever thoughts, emotions correlate with that chakra, that's where it gets stuck. And you'll understand that more as we go through them. So you've got in this your spiritual anatomy, you could call it that, your spiritual anatomy, these energy centers. The Old Testament, the Hebrew Bible says you're created in God's image. Well, you've got this spiritual anatomy with energy centers in there. If you want to get biblical, some interpret the book of Revelation, the 7 churches, 7 chakras, there's 7 candlesticks. You could go in, you can find 7 everywhere, right? 7-Eleven? No, that wouldn't work. So, your energy centers. And Jesus said the kingdom of God is within you. But he was talking about your physical body. Nobody's found it in your physical body. It's the energy of you, that spiritual essence of you. That's in there. Some call it the astral body. I know that may sound a little weird, but that's one way to call it. Your spiritual anatomy, your astral body. And you know, it's always there. And your energy is meant to rise up. It's meant to flow from the root chakra all the way right through the top of your head. It's meant to flow right through the top of your head. Like a river that flows freely. But when you put debris in the river, you put rocks in the river, boulders in the river, sticks in the river, what happens? Now the river doesn't flow freely. It creates little eddies, doesn't it? That's what's happening inside of us, depending on the quality of your energy. It's meant to flow up. When people are happy, how do they tend to stand? Up, right? They tend to stand up. They tend to look up, right? When you're happy, you feel, and you use language like that. I feel up. I feel uplifted. I feel on top of the world. You're lighter on your feet, aren't you? Because your energy's going up. When the energy's going down with negative thoughts, negative emotions, it reflects in our bodies, doesn't it? We tend to look down. We tend to, don't we? And what kind of language do you use? I feel down. I feel in the pits, in a slump, right? because of the flow of energy. When you have positive thoughts, your energy goes up. We have negative thoughts that go down. And we tend to try to find happiness outside, as I've said before. We tend to think that if I find the right person or the right job, or if I get a raise, if I make a certain amount of money, if I learn how to get better and beat the people at the club and whatever, and, whatever it is, if I get so many likes on Facebook, if I can really be an influencer, a creative, whatever, then I'm going to finally be okay and be happy, right? Does that ever happen? No, it doesn't. All you got to do is look around, look at the people who have done all these different things, and and a lot of them you find, well, that doesn't seem to do it, does it? So instead of looking outside so much, when you and here's the trick. This is the trick about it, is when you do get something outside, it opens you momentarily. Your heart opens in that you feel a rush of energy momentarily, right? Everybody knows the first year of a new relationship, right? It can go 2 years, or where you're walking on water practically. Nobody can stand you, but you're really, no, I'm kidding. But you're just flying high. And then he changes. Then she changes. You were lying to me. What happened to the other you? You can find that. Oh, I got my dream job. Yeah. And then you find out. If only that person wasn't there. Right? I mean, that's what it is. So, when you stop looking out there for something to make you fulfilled and whole, and you start to focus, you know what? I'm going to start waking up to the joy, the fulfillment, the happiness, the peace, the love. That's inside of me. So what does that require? It requires I got to free up this stuff. And that brings us to the chakras, the energy centers. Now, you don't have to really know about these for that to happen. The stuff we talk about relaxing and letting energy flow through you, it's going to happen naturally. But when you know it, it's another way of looking at it and another way to participate in it, and as well as meditation. So let's go over these chakras, and then at the end, I'm going to take some questions from you, and then the next week we'll go with each chakra and go in more detail. So the root chakra is the first chakra, and it's at the base of your spine. You're sitting on your chakra right now. All right? So if you tense that part of your body, everybody tensing that part of your body? I can see it. You look really like. All right? So you're sort of stimulating that chakra. Chakra's in that area, right? And the chakras, the energy centers, control organs and functions in your body in the area of the chakra, which we'll go into more later. So now if you move 1.5 inches up from the root chakra, it takes you to the sacral chakra, which is right in the reproductive organ area. So if you tense and relax the reproductive organs, can you feel that? It's kind of like doing a Kegel exercise. Anybody know the Kegel exercise? Just tense and relax a couple times. Good, good. You're stimulating that sacral chakra area there. Now, move up. Oh, and by the way, very important. Let's go back to the root chakra. Okay, the root chakra, when that chakra is functioning in a healthy way and the energy's flowing up, you have steadfastness. You are firm. You have faith in principles. You move forward. You persevere. That's your root chakra. You see? Steadfast. strong. So then the sacral chakra, that has to do with being in the flow with change. That's accepting changes and working effectively with changes. The sacral chakra, when the energy is healthy, and they all have negative things too. If it's unhealthy, like being steadfast can become stubborn if it's unhealthy, and other qualities like that. So the sacral chakra has to do with creativity, a creativity flow, and tuning into the divine guidance, your intuition. That's your second chakra, the sacral chakra. So let's move up now to the lumbar center, the third chakra. Let's put that diagram up of the chakras. There we go. This is me when the room is dark. So you come up to the lumbar region, right behind the belly button. So let's pull that belly button in toward your spine. Pull that in and then let it out. Pull it in and let it out. Good. That's your third chakra. And this chakra is related to the fire element. Fire. Each chakra is related to an earth element. And this has to do with fire. Fiery self-control. Who here needs a little fiery self-control? Who here needs to get yourself to do some stuff you got to do because you want to move forward with your life? Right? Fiery self-control. Yes. As well as enthusiasm. Enthusiasm for life, for living. Emerson said nothing great was ever done without enthusiasm. We all know now, entheos. There was a time where that was new, Wow, entheos, enthusiasm, in God. Now everybody says it. So I'm going to say it again. Entheos, enthusiasm, right? So that's that chakra. So then the fourth chakra is right at the dorsal chakra, the heart area, right? Go ahead and draw your shoulders back and tense the area around the heart. Good. And relax. Your heart chakra, right behind the heart, in the center of your being. And guess what that quality is as you awaken that and let it flow freely? Unconditional love. Unconditional love. Right? Unconditional love. What is that? It's, as Shakespeare said, love never alters when alteration it finds. Shakespeare was a smart dude, wasn't he? All three of them, or whoever he was, or she, Shakespeare was smart. And what is that? That's love that never alters. There's no conditions on that love. When that chakra's open, we're letting the infinite, unconditional love flow through us. There's no limit to that. Jesus said, who is my brother? Who is my family? Except those who love God. Not, I'm just going to love my own. Just us two. No, loving everybody, right? The heart center. It's unconditional love. It has to do with devotion. Loving God, learning to love God. We talked about devotion a few weeks ago, which can take different forms, getting that heart open and loving God. And then you move up to the throat chakra, the cervical center. And if you just take a moment now and tense your throat area and relax. Tense and the back of your neck and relax. This is the throat chakra. It has to do with communication. It has to do with verbal expression. Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, said this was a real power center in your body. The chakra, when it's open in the throat, is calmness and expansiveness. Calmness and expansiveness. I've heard people go, yeah, meditation's okay. I feel calm. Like that's a bad thing. I I feel calm. Yeah, you know, Yogananda said calmness is evidence of the eternal nature of God. It's an expression of the eternal nature of God. You're like, I don't know where God is. I don't know if God exists. You're calm, right? Yeah, I'm calm. Well, there's God right there. Calmness of your heart. Calm is powerful. Calm is powerful, right? The center of a hurricane is what? Calm, isn't it? Center of a hurricane. Around that hurricane, around that calm center, is the center of a tornado calm? I don't know. I never got close enough to ask it. Right? But hurricanes calm. Warriors, right? The samurai facing death. They are calm. They are calm, ready to move. Any of y'all see the old Bruce Lee movies? 20 guys standing around him. He's just as calm. And then all of a sudden, they're all flying all over the place. Any of y'all see Billy Jack movies? Remember Billy Jack? Yeah, Billy Jack fan? Anybody else? Billy Jack? It's an old movie, right? Billy Jack. I'm going to take my left foot and put it across the left side of your cheek, and you're not going to do a darn thing about it. Whoosh! Calm. Calm, that's this chakra. Learning to find that calmness so that you can be effective in every area. Where there's calmness, there's power. There's expansiveness. This is where you begin to feel that you're more than that physical body. You're more than your mind. Expansiveness. So those 5 chakras are basically your humanness. Have to do with a lot of your humanness. And now we move into the 6th and 7th chakra. The 6th chakra has 2 poles to it. If you place your hand at the base of your skull, right there in a hollow cavity, if you just massage that there, that's the seat of your ego. So right now you're massaging your ego. This is the only place that cannot be operated on directly, right? The medulla. It's where the sages say your energy from the cosmic source enters your body through the medulla. And it's where the ovum and sperm unite at conception and begin to form your spine, your nervous system, your physical body at the medulla. When it's functioning well, you are in a place of surrendering your ego to your higher self, to your higher power. How many of you know the freedom and the joy when you get your little self out of the way? How many of you know the freedom and the joy when you say, I am not doing a very good job at this. I surrender to my higher power, to God, to spirit, right? Now, the polar opposite of the medulla is the spiritual eye. Go ahead and place your hand at the medulla and also a finger at the spiritual eye, right at the point between your eyebrows. And that is your Christ center. That is the third eye, the spiritual eye. You can take your hand down. Let's just tense that area. Knit your eyebrows together and just tense a few times. So you're stimulating that area. Jesus said, if thine eye be single, thy whole body will be filled with light. If thine eye be single, this is a single eye, according to Yogananda. This is where, when you're focused at this point, in fact, he would encourage people to keep their awareness at that point throughout the day. You begin to open up that point. As I told you, when I was thinking about God, repeating God's name, repeating a mantra, I felt pressure at this point. It's natural because God is centered. That's where we experience communion with God, is at that point. The spiritual eye. And so that point has to do with joy. That point has to do with divine guidance. When you're functioning correctly, you're in tune with spirit. That point has to do with finding solutions to problems, super conscious solutions to problems. How many of you need some answers to some questions that you have right now? How many of you have some problems, challenges in your life, projects that you need solutions? You need creative answers. Well, the spiritual eye is also a seat of concentration. When you concentrate, you know, when people concentrate, they knit their eyebrows together, don't they? When you find yourself concentrating, you might notice that you can feel it at that point between the eyebrows. And it's a seat of concentration. It's the seat of willpower. Willpower. When this is awakened, you have greater willpower for whatever it is you need to do. He said the greater of the will, the greater the flow of energy. How many of you want more energy flowing into your life? Energy is joy, ladies and gentlemen. Energy is joy. That's why when you go to the gym, when you take a walk, when you do a little exercise, you feel more joyful. It has to do with the flow of energy and endorphins and all that other good stuff. It's all connected. It's all connected. So that's the Christ center. That's the sixth chakra. And then the seventh chakra is at the crown of your head. It's called the thousand-petal lotus. Thousand-petal lotus, the sun chakra, the crown chakra. Go ahead right now and just pat the top of your head and just tell yourself, good girl, good boy, you are waking up your chakras, your energy centers. You are on the path to enlightenment, to freedom, to pure joy. And now give yourself a pat on the back, on your back too. So every now and then you got to give yourself a pat on the back, don't you? Yes. You can't just look and see how far you've got to go. You got to look back and go, how far you've come. Haven't you come a long ways? Yes. Yes. So you've come a long ways. Those are the seven chakras. And when they're not open, when they're frustrated, you get a lot of other negative stuff that we see. And so what I'd like to do now is just take a few minutes for any questions about the chakras, because as I said, next week we're going to go into detail. We're going to start with the root chakra next week, and I'm going to share with you more about what that is. I'm going to lead you in a meditation and some of the qualities of how you can begin to awaken that chakra in your life, and we'll go through each one. So anybody have any online, please put in the chat if you have any questions or comments about these chakras, and also anybody here. We've got a microphone for you. If anybody have any questions about the chakras in general. Okay, up front here. And please say your name so people can know who you are. Over here. Oh, all right. You get...
Phyllis Joy. I was just wondering, do you
hold it a little closer to her mouth,
do you
please.
have to go in order, or can you open up a chakra, you know, just because you're meditating on that particular chakra? Does it have to be in sequence?
No.
Okay.
It doesn't. It doesn't. Let's say you want to open up your creativity. You could focus on the heart chakra, the medulla, and the point between the eyebrows. And now that opens you up to a greater flow of creativity. See? Ideally, what we're trying to do is we're trying to stimulate the chakra energy, and then we bring it inward so it can flow up. And it doesn't have to be in any particular order. Yeah, when we do a meditation, we do it in an order, but, you know, you can focus on a particular chakra if you want to. Yes?
Hi, Jill Marie. What, if anything, do you know about the Kundalini?
The Kundalini, yeah. The Kundalini is energy that the yogis say is sort of locked at the base of the spine, right? And it's blocked. It's blocked energy. That's in a nutshell. And all of our seeking for stuff other than God, all of our attitudes and emotions, that are, frustration, anger, jealousy, whatever. We know all that stuff. That creates blockages in our energy flow. And so the Kundalini is kind of blocked. But the more we open it up, the more that energy starts to flow more and more. If you, as one sage said, if you were to completely free up all your chakras right now, and that Kundalini was to flow purely and completely, it would burn you up. You would burn up because you're not ready for it. You can't just force it open. It happens gradually as you grow. Yeah. We got an online question, okay? Okay. There's a question about the medulla oblongata at the base of the skull. It's the seat of ego, and the question has to do with how can it be the seat of ego, but also is a place where life enters, life in the body. So just like any of the chakras, they all have, if you block them, they become something else. Ego is not bad. We have to have an ego, right? There's got to be an ego. God is the transcendent presence that began to manifest as everything, and it divided itself to create the illusion that we're all separate, right? If we didn't all perceive that we were separate, then it wouldn't be much fun, would it? There's an old legend that in the beginning God created everybody perfect, and everybody sat still and meditated and merged back to God. And God was like, that's not much fun. Let's create a little more interesting something going on here. And that's when he created appearances. That's when he created, our vision is global spiritual enlightenment. I was thinking about this yesterday as I was driving, that we say it's global spiritual enlightenment. Yes. But isn't it wonderful that not everyone is enlightened, really? It makes things interesting. It's a game. It's a sport. God's Leela, a sport. It makes it interesting. Life is interesting. And, if we can have more of that perspective, we might enjoy our life a little more. Realize that you need all of it. So the whole idea of ego, you've got an ego, and it's got to be located somewhere. And so that's the seed of it right there. It doesn't cancel out the fact that spirit also flows as life through that point. After all, you are God expressing as you. Your mind is God expressing as you. Now, when the mind is pure, when the mind is still, then it becomes a perfect avenue of God. If it's not, if it's full of fear and chaotic stuff, then it's not going to be a pure avenue. So they can coexist, you see. All right, somebody else.
Justin, you mentioned that chakras 1 through 5 have to do with the physical body. Is it
The humanness.
The humanness. Is it too simple to say then 6 and 7 is all spiritual? Because they're all spiritual.
They're all spiritually connected.
Okay.
This is how the yogis tend to talk about it, that the higher two are more where you start to expand beyond the ego, the spiritual eye, the crown chakra, whereas the other ones have a lot to do with our qualities in the world, our physical body. These have to do more with expansiveness, with the crown chakra has to do with enlightenment, has to do with experiencing omnipresence, omniscience, samadhi bliss, whereas the heart chakra affects the heart organs, the other chakras affect different organs in your physical body. So I think that's what it's all about. Yeah.
Follow on. The meridians, is there a parallel between the meridians and the chakras?
I haven't studied the meridians, so I really don't know. But I don't know, but I'm sure there have been some who yeah. We got an online question. Yes. Okay, as a beginner, how do I begin opening chakras? Well, that's what the series is about. We're going to talk about, next week, we're going to start talking about the first chakra, the root chakra. And we're going to talk about what it means, what are the negative ramifications if you block that energy, if you don't open the energy, and then we're going to lead you in a meditation and some ideas to help you to begin to do that. So if you're a beginner, you're in the right place. And if you're advanced, you've done this before, my guess is you're going to learn something new also. Because I've been studying these, I've been aware of this stuff for 30 years, but just preparing this, I've learned some things. So, that's just the nature of it. Okay, we got one in the space.
Oh, my question is, so a blocked chakra, would that lead to sickness or dis-ease?
Yes, it could.
I thought so.
Yeah, it could. Because, the life force is meant to flow through us. And if you're blocking a chakra a certain way, it could affect, the chakra affects the organs, right? So your sacral chakra, in the sexual organ area, it affects the reproductive organ. Your heart chakra affects the heart. Your lumbar chakra affects the liver and the kidneys and the stomach, digestion and all of that. The energy centers are connected with the nerves of the body and affect those areas. Yeah. Got another one online? Is the third eye our center? The third eye is the Christ center. This is where you experience your union with the infinite. That's the point between the eyebrows. You have all these centers inside of you. You are God living itself as you, and you have these spiritual centers that you want to awaken and allow the energy to flow freely through you. Got another one online, okay? There's 7 chakras. Because I said the 6 includes the medulla and the spiritual eye. So that may sound like 2, but it's 1. So the root, the sacral, the lumbar, the heart, the throat, the medulla. Wait a minute, did I miss one? The root, the sacral, the navel, the heart, the throat, the medulla and spiritual eye, and the crown. Yeah, those are the 7. The diagram. Yeah, somebody else in space. Yes.
Hi. You had said that the lumbar chakra was
Yeah.
a fire element.
Fire, yeah, fiery
Yeah.
self-control.
Right. Is there one that's water, or do they all follow?
Water is the sacral chakra. Yeah, the root chakra is the earth. Earth, water, fire, and then we go on to the air and ether. We're going to go into each one of them. I've been spending 30 years awakening the chakras, not really thinking about them. You know what I mean? So I'll be talking more about them in the upcoming weeks to tell you specifically what each one is. Yeah. Yeah, the colors, we'll talk about the colors as well of each of the chakras in the coming weeks. So then we can all dress in the color. Somebody up here has a question? Yes.
Hi, my name's Rob. I'm new here.
Hey,
So-
Rob. Rob is here for the first time. Welcome, Rob.
So when you were doing the exercise for the eyebrows,
Yes.
I felt like a very overpowering, I don't know, just beautiful emotion that kind of just surged through my body. And I'm kind of wondering what that is.
Yeah, me too. That's a good sign, isn't it? Yeah. Well, remember, this is the Christ center, the spiritual eye, the third eye. This is where we experience communion with God in our body. So if you felt a beautiful feeling, then you basically sort of stimulated that area and were open to that energy. And you just had a direct experience of it. That's awesome. That is really awesome. See, it shows that you're ready for that. You're ready for that next step in your evolution to experience. And, you know, spirit, it's a very fascinating thing. Some of you have had amazing experiences earlier in your spiritual journey, and then maybe since then, you haven't had that many amazing experiences. That's kind of how it is. You get a taste of something, and that taste keeps you on the journey. And you just, isn't that true? How many of you know that to be true? And you just keep on keeping on. You know, you want to, it's a long-term project, this spiritual growth. It's a long-term. You got to prepare yourself, prepare your mind, prepare your body, and you just sort of were open there. You stimulated it, and you had an inner experience, and that's awesome. All right, anybody else in the space as we take a final one? And anybody online? Anyone else online? Okay, good. Well, so next day, we're going to start with the root chakra. Steadfastness. Learning to have faith in true principles. And we'll really get you into experiencing that, awakening it, and we'll talk about what happens if it's blocked. What do you see when it's blocked? Kind of unpleasant. Some people are unpleasant when that chakra's blocked. Yeah. Don't look at the person next to you. All right, let's get still. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, and great saints and sages of all religions. We thank you for guiding our discussion today. And we are ready. We are ready to grow. We're ready to unfold, to know our greater self, our higher power. We know there is more to experience, more love, more joy, more peace, more bliss, more communion, more wisdom. And we are ready and willing to take those next steps to know the truth that makes us free. And so it is. Amen.